Well, I'll start with a few news articles that I thought were interesting. I didn't know this. California has digital driver's licenses. I feel like getting one just to see how it works. People are pointing out they're worried about some security risks, which, I've done an awful lot of Android security audits, and certainly mobile apps do have their flaws. They're talking about the security flaws. The first thing is there's no two-factor authentication for the license, although they say you have to unlock your phone, and then the app itself has at least one form of authentication, so you could call that two-factor authentication, but it's not clear that it's two different factors. Anyway, that's an interesting statement. It would be interesting to analyze that. And other people say that there's cases where in other countries like Iceland, underage people have forged the digital license, which certainly would seem like something you could easily do. I mean, you could just, that's something we do as a project in a mobile app hacking class. It's usually very easy to download an app and hack it. Another simple thing you could do is just take a screenshot of whatever screen it puts up and then edit it. It seems like that's an issue. Anyway, apparently it's not really worth much. You can use it as TSA pre-check lines, but you can't use it to buy alcohol, and I'm not sure what else people would use it for. But anyway, it's interesting. It would be interesting to try that and see how well it works. There's a new, whatever this garbage, okay, they found a molecule that eliminates 90% of the plaque that causes tooth decay. It kills off the Streptococcus mutans biofilm. So this sounds awesome, and they say they would like to add it to toothpaste and mouthwash, and that sounds great. Hopefully it doesn't turn out to have some awful side effect. I saw the new Splunk SOAR projects. Yes, the first two Splunk SOAR projects are in fact up and available for anybody to do, and there will be a lot more coming after it. And I'll talk more about that a little later. Good. Anyway, COVID shots are coming like next week. And they explain what they are in this article, which I found very helpful. People who are old, like over 60, should really consider taking these shots. I guess it sounds like I ought to get 3 shots, a COVID shot and a RSV shot and a flu shot, which I guess I'll do. Although, to be fair, I imagine the COVID shot is not necessary for me because I had COVID just a few weeks ago, and I would imagine that will confer some degree of immunity for whatever the current strain is. But anyway, I guess I'll get the shot. It can't do any harm, and I don't think anybody really knows all this. In order to rely upon that previous infection immunity, you would have to know which strain you got, and they aren't testing anymore, so it's not clear that previous immunity, it's more complicated to trust previous immunity, so I think I've got all the other shots, so I'll get this one too, I guess. I noticed this myself. I tried to come into class on Thursday, and I went to Phil's Coffee to get some coffee, and they said, you have to buy on the mobile app. We're not able to take payment any other way, and apparently this happened to a lot of people. Square went out. So all the companies that relied on Square to handle their cash transactions or credit card transactions, I guess, which is a whole lot of companies around here, they were hosed. So people are complaining about it. Apparently they fixed it. But anyway, worked out fine for me. The local Phil's near the college quit letting you use the app a long time ago. So I got out of the habit of using the app, but the Phil near my home up in Westboro uses the app, so I can use that now, and that actually saved me time, so I don't mind using the app more. Now, what is this garbage? Okay. Yeah, I have to get rid of my ad blockers, but this is Opera, and Opera doesn't have an ad blocker. Right. Let's see if I can get rid of this irritation. Inspect element. How about delete? Div class equals blockers. Delete. Well, I may not be able to get instructions container. More app, more blockers. All right, looks like I'm not going to be able to get to whatever this article was. Maybe if I use some different browser. That's pretty rude. I mean, I'm putting the news in Opera because it doesn't have any ad blockers, but even so, it thinks it does. That's the kind of thing that happens a lot. As everybody has ad blockers and everyone has anti-ad blockers, it's going to have all sorts of weird problems like that. Anyway, this started someone posted this on Mastodon, and they were very angry, saying those rotten Bitcoin miners in Texas, they had to pay the energy company had to pay them a bunch of money to get them to stop consuming energy at a time of high demand when they needed the energy. And I think that's a very false take on this. What's going on is, if you are a Bitcoin miner or any kind of industrial activity that uses a lot of power, and you can change the time when you do your business, you can get discount energy by signing up to a deal that they will let you turn off your energy during times of peak demand. And what they got here is $31 million in energy credits. It's not cash. So I think that's all they did. And the same thing's true of Amazon. I think it's true of a whole lot of companies, that they will give you a lower rate if you choose to use their product off the peak time. So I don't think anything's wrong here. I mean, there are people that argue that you shouldn't use Bitcoin because it uses a lot of energy. But when you use programs like that, people say it's actually economically valuable because it helps the energy company make more money by selling more power at a time when nobody's using much power. So anyway, now, of course, in Texas, some of that power is coming from fossil fuel burning, although an awful lot of power in Texas is, in fact, now from renewables. So anyway, it's an interesting issue, and it brings up an interesting discussion. But anyway, let me end the news, and let's get down to the official